Taxpayers rebel as they're forced to pay over £500,000 for Harry's failed legal bid against RAVEC. Prince Harry's failed court case against the Home Office over the removal of his automatic police protection has cost the taxpayer more than £500,000, it was revealed yesterday. This makes taxpayers angry and rebelling. Officials spent £514,000 fighting two separate judicial review claims brought by the Duke of Sussex after his security status was downgraded when he and wife Meghan ceased being working royals and moved to the US. The legal bill could still increase as Harry's vowed to appeal against his latest defeat when a judge last month ruled that he'd failed to prove the decision was unfair or unlawful. The costs of the two claims will raise questions over a member of the royal family launching legal action against the government. The legal bill included more than £180,000 for barristers, £320,000 for the government's legal department, which provides legal advice, and £3,200 in court fees according to a Freedom of Information request by the Daily Telegraph. Almost £10,000 was spent on the disclosure of electronic documents linked to the case, believed to include emails between civil servants and the royal household. Harry claimed the decision by the Home Office's Executive Committee for the Protection of Royalty and Public Figures, known as RAVEC, was unfair and jeopardised the safety of him and his family. His lawyers argued that he was singled out and treated less favourably than other VIPs. The Home Office said that Britain had finite public resources and argued police protection should be limited to those acting in the interest of the state through their public role. A High Court judge ruled the decision to revoke his round-the-clock taxpayer-funded police protection and instead review his security needs on a case-by-case basis was lawful and dismissed his case. Mr Justice Lane ruled that the decision made by the Royal and VIP Executive Committee, RAVEC, to withdraw state-funded security for the Duke and Duchess of Sussex when they stepped back as working royals, and instead reviewed on a case-by-case basis whenever they returned to the UK, had not been irrational or procedurally unfair. He also rejected the Duke's inappropriate formalist interpretation of the process and said that taxpayer-funded security shouldn't be used to protect the Duke and Duchess from paparazzi. The ruling left the Duke facing an estimated legal bill of more than £1 million. If flying into London's so traumatising for him, if he had to take a freedom flight to find freedom from the UK, if the UK and royal family is so discriminatory and terrible, it makes no sense why he'd want to come back to bring his children around. But apparently the UK and the royals are only good enough to enrich himself through security and funding these court antics. Logic and rationality is lost upon this couple. Nothing they do ever makes any sense other than to inflate their own egos. Harry's made millions trashing the royal family. He can afford his own security. If he can't, he should get Oprah and Tyler Perry to pay for it, or crowdsource from his demented fan base. He wanted to leave the royal family and grift in Hollywood. Losing the funded security was a consequence of that. The sheer lack of astuteness with this couple's astounding. In short, when he runs out of money, he'll turn on his lawyers. The lawyers said to keep fighting. Much like he blamed the press for the discriminatory claims, nothing is ever his fault in his mind.